Hello you guys, welcome to today's video. I am so excited to be filming this video because I have literally been waiting all year to talk about this. We are talking about Venus retrograde in Capricorn. We are going to talk about Venus's transit through Capricorn in general and what it means for all of us. Venus in Capricorn is going to bring a lot of stability into our lives, specifically in our relationships, in our self-love, and with our finances and our careers. So this is a really exciting and impactful transit. I have a ton of notes here and I always try and simplify things and just tell you the really important things that you need to know and you need to be aware of. But even then, there is still quite a lot to unpack here. So we are just going to jump right in and get started. So Venus is going to be going retrograde in the sign of Capricorn from December 19th to January 29th of 2022. But the reason I'm making this video now is because Venus is going to enter its pre-shadow on the 17th of November. So that's a solid month before Venus even goes retrograde. And then after Venus stations direct on January 29th, it is going to remain in its post-shadow until the 1st of March. So we are going to be in this energy for a few months here. Now, before we talk about Venus retrograde, we first need to talk about the overall energy of Venus in Capricorn. So Venus entered Capricorn on November 5th, and it will remain there until March 6th. So this is 4 straight months, and that is a long time for Venus to stay in one sign. Venus usually only takes about 6 weeks to transit a sign, but because of its retrograde and it's moving backwards in degrees, it is going to be in Capricorn for 4 months. Now, of course, Venus is the planet that rules love and relationships. That is what it is most known for and associated with. But Venus does also rule money, beauty, and the things that we find pleasurable in our life. That is why Venus gets an association with material items and luxuries and stuff like that. In this video, we are mainly going to focus on love and relationships. We are going to touch on finances and career and stuff like that, but just know that this energy applies to all of the things that Venus governs. But we're just mainly going to focus on relationships. I feel like that's what people care about the most anyways. Capricorn is a very grounded, practical, rational, serious, mature, responsible earth sign. Capricorn is a very committed sign that takes things really seriously. It uses its time wisely. Capricorn is more focused on building things that last a long time. It's not flighty. It's not flaky. It's not frivolous. I don't know why I'm saying all these F's, but that is not the energy of Capricorn. It's very mature. It's very serious. It's committed. It's in it for the long haul. When Venus enters a sign like Capricorn, this causes us to have a much more practical and serious and mature approach towards love and towards our relationships. We are going to be more focused on building bonds that last a lifetime, that are stable, that are supportive, that are productive. So when Venus is in Capricorn, you will see a lot of people getting engaged, buying a home together or moving in together, taking the next step in commitment with one another. If you are newly dating somebody or you're involved in a fling or a situationship, a very casual dating situation, you decide to take that relationship to the next level. You make it official, you become more committed, or you let the relationship end because you see that it's not worth your time. It's not a productive relationship. We're just starting to take things a lot more seriously. Now, if you're single, you will find that you might really be desiring a committed relationship. You want a partner. You want somebody to build a life with, to build a family with. You might feel lonely without that stable companionship in your life. Now, another thing you should be aware of is if you are already in a committed relationship, like you're past the honeymoon phase, you've been together for a year or several years, Venus in Capricorn can bring a bit of a boring energy to your relationship. It can start to feel a bit more mundane and like the honeymoon phase is over. Your relationship might be less focused on pleasure and romance and like sex, and it might suddenly shift into like paying the bills and paying attention to the house and talking about finances. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. This is really a pivotal time in a lot of people's relationships, because if you can move through that boring day-to-day routine like energy within the relationship, you are going to deepen your bond with one another. It can really bring you a lot more comfort and security if your relationship can grow and deepen during the boring times, right? Like, we obviously know that relationships are not always going to be fun and sexy and spontaneous. When that energy fades away and you're finding yourself in this very serious, practical energy with your partner, if you can move through that, you're going to come out of Venus and Capricorn feeling more secure and safe in your relationship than you ever have. Venus and Capricorn, that's not like the sexiest placement for Venus. It's not really focused on passion. It's more focused on the practical matters within our relationship. But overall, Venus and Capricorn really is a good thing. Venus is a positive energy, and it can really bless us and bring us fortune and bring us love. And with it being in a sign like Capricorn, this is really going to bring forth a lot of stability in our lives. And you're especially going to want to look to see what house you have Capricorn ruling in your own chart, because that is going to be a huge focus for you over the next 4 months. This is a beneficial energy for our money, our finances, any investments that you have made, also your business partnerships, your career. This is a great time for investing, saving money, making really smart business decisions, putting plans into action that will pay off for a long time, becoming more practical and organized with our spending, our budgeting, all of that stuff. So this is a really positive energy for all of those things. But now we need to talk about Venus retrograde, because this adds a whole other layer onto Venus and Capricorn. Venus only goes retrograde about every year and a half. The last time Venus was retrograde was in May, June of 2020, and it was in the sign of Gemini. When a planet goes retrograde, it kind of causes everything to slow down and kind of pause, which is why retrogrades are associated with delays and setbacks. Whatever that planet rules over, so in this situation, we're talking about love and relationships, retrogrades cause us to turn our focus on those things inwards. This is a very introspective and retrospective type of approach that we take towards whatever the planet rules over. So what happens when Venus goes retrograde is we will start to analyze and reanalyze and reanalyze some more all of our relationships. One of the classic things that happens with the Venus retrograde, this is one of the main major themes that we will experience, is that Venus retrograde causes us to really take a look at the relationship that we have with ourselves, because Venus rules love and relationships. So if our focus on those things is turned inwards, we are now having to face the relationship that we have with ourselves. And we know that the relationship we have with ourselves directly impacts and reflects and mirrors the relationships that we have with other people. They are completely intertwined and connected. So some of the things that will come up with a Venus retrograde are insecurities, issues regarding self-worth, self-love, self-respect, the boundaries that we've set for ourselves or the lack of boundaries that we have, maybe beliefs we have about ourselves. Maybe we believe that we're undeserving of love, or maybe some of the insecurities that we aren't even really aware that we have. Maybe we have some jealousy issues, some power or control issues. Anything that is going on that has been out of our awareness when it comes to the relationship we have with ourselves is going to come up to the surface. It's going to be brought into our conscious awareness. And this is like a telltale Venus in retrograde thing. We really start to see where we are insecure. We start to see the ways that we sabotage our relationships, and we can't run away from it anymore. It really becomes highlighted, it becomes magnified, it comes to the forefront, and we are really forced to deal with it because as these internal issues arise, not only are we noticing them, but we're also noticing the way that they have impacted our relationships. We are noticing how all of those things have caused us to attract a certain type of person into our life. So this can be a very uncomfortable time for a lot of people. Another very common thing that happens when Venus goes retrograde is old relationships come back from the past. And this is different than, like, you know how Mercury retrograde will have, like, your ex will text you, right? Mercury rules communication. So when Mercury is retrograde, we will hear from past lovers, maybe people that we never got closure with, or we have unfinished business to sort out with those people. But when Venus is retrograde, it brings the whole relationship back. This isn't just a text. This is rekindling old flames. This is giving old relationships a second chance. And what you are going to find is that these relationships come back for a reason. Whether it's that we were needing to seek closure with this person, or maybe we are going to give the relationship another chance altogether, or maybe this person's gonna come back just to remind us of why it didn't work out the first time, and we're gonna finally close the door on that relationship. You will find that exes come back for the duration of Venus retrograde, and then suddenly they leave. It doesn't work out. It's like we're using the retrograde period to sort through whatever unfinished business we needed to deal with, and then they leave again. Venus retrograde can cause us to have rose-colored glasses on, and we just aren't really seeing things clearly. That is something to really be aware of, because this is not a really great time to make serious or final decisions when it comes to relationships. And you have to kind of use your discernment and your intuition during a retrograde, because what will happen is if you meet someone during Venus retrograde, chances are that relationship is not going to last. I have seen in my own life and in the lives of people I know, people will meet someone during Venus retrograde, and that person will come into their life and teach them a really quick but important lesson and then disappear. Starting a relationship when Venus is retrograde, you might not really be seeing the relationship clearly. You might have rose-colored glasses. You might fall really hard. And then once retrograde is over, you see things for what they really are, and you're like, I don't even really like this person. There's just a lot of confusion that can take place when Venus is retrograde. So it's really important to use your intuition and use your discernment. And the thing is, Venus retrograde is the best time to focus on ourselves anyways. Another thing that is going to happen with Venus retrograde, toxic and unhealthy relationships are going to fall apart. That is what I mean when I say use your intuition. If you have been in an unhealthy relationship, a relationship that isn't productive, a relationship that doesn't truly support you, a relationship that holds you back, if this relationship starts to fall apart under the energy of Venus retrograde, surrender to the destruction. Venus is showing you the cracks in the relationship, and it's going to show it to you in a very harsh way. We are going to see the truth. The veil's going to fall from our eyes. We are going to see things and see people for what they really are. But with the fact that retrogrades cause us to not see things clearly, you've got to listen to your intuition, and I cannot stress that enough. Any issues that currently exist in a relationship are going to be exposed, brought to the light, brought to the forefront. So Venus retrograde can cause relationships to go through turbulent times. But that is why it's so important to understand how to work with this energy. This can be a deeply healing time for people, for your relationship. You can really do a lot of internal work, which will then positively impact your relationship. So if you are in a committed relationship that has been happy and healthy up until this point, and then things start to get a little little turbulent during Venus retrograde, do not end that relationship. You are going to regret it. You are going to cause even more issues. Work through the problems with your partner. I am only encouraging you to end a relationship during Venus retrograde if it's already been an unhealthy relationship to begin with. This is a time to work through issues internally and within your relationship, and it's all interconnected. So use this energy to heal, to grow, and to deepen your bond. You will be supported with Venus and the energy of Capricorn, because Capricorn wants to build things that last. It wants to create relationships on a solid foundation that doesn't crumble when things get a little bit turbulent. This is the time to rebuild and rebuild stronger relationships. Venus retrograde is going to cause relationships to strengthen and relationships to end. Now, before we jump into the last thing I want to talk about, which is the most intense part of this whole transit, I also have to just give my warnings for you guys, okay? So just like when Mercury is retrograde, we say, don't sign a contract, don't make travel plans. When Venus is retrograde, this is not a great time to make outlandish, luxurious purchases. It is very likely that you will end up regretting it for one reason or another. This is not a good time to buy luxury cars, fine jewelry. Retrogrades just cause the energy to be wacky, and it causes mishaps, it causes miscommunication. We will agree to things or do things that we aren't seeing clearly, or things will simply just backfire and blow up in our face. And the other thing that I am begging you to not do not get cosmetic plastic surgery or do anything drastic to your appearance. Now, obviously, you do whatever you want. Sometimes things happen where we have already agreed to something or scheduled something and it's too late to go back. But I am just giving you a fair warning that this is not the best time to be doing those things. Anything that you do agree to, big purchases, double, triple check everything. Just be aware and be very careful of things like that. When it comes to money, when it comes to beauty, when it comes to relationships, we don't want to make outlandish decisions. We only want to make decisions that are practical and that make sense. And that brings me to the last and very important part of this transit that we need to talk about, and that is Venus conjunct Pluto. When I say that we are going to undergo transformation, I mean it. Pluto is here, Pluto is in the mix, and Pluto does not come to play. Venus and Pluto are both in the sign of Capricorn, and they are going to be coming in contact in an exact conjunction over the course of this transit. Venus is going to conjunct Pluto on December 11th, again on December 25th, Christmas Day, and for a final time on March 3rd. Now, we are going to be feeling this energy of Venus conjunct Pluto the entire month of December, but it's just going to reach its most intensity on the dates that I just listed. Pluto is the planet of power, transformation, and rebirth, but Pluto tends to cause transformation in a destructive way. Pluto can really cause us to feel like our soul is getting ripped out of our body. Like we are purging really deep, dark aspects of ourselves. But Pluto also assists in the most miraculous transformation we will ever undergo. Deep, deep transformation, liberation, and rebirth. So when Venus conjuncts Pluto, first of all, this can be very destructive for unhealthy relationships. If you are single or if you're feeling neglected in a relationship, this can really bring to the surface a very overwhelming feeling, this overwhelming desire to be loved. This is going to further intensify and magnify all of the internal issues that we talked about that are likely to come up to the surface. But this is the energy that we need to move through this transit. Venus conjunct Pluto is the energy you need to give you the power to transform yourself, to transform your relationships. Because in order to change or in order to improve, everything that's out of alignment, everything that's not working, everything that's holding us back, it has to be brought into our awareness. Any of our insecurities that we need to overcome to have healthy relationships, that stuff has to get brought to the surface. Pluto is going to cause the things that are out of our awareness to be brought right to the forefront. So that is really the main thing with this retrograde. It's just going to bring to our awareness all of the ways that we have been sabotaging our relationships that we weren't aware we were doing. We are going to be purging our shadows, purging our insecurities, purging the limiting beliefs, purging the feelings of unworthiness or being unlovable. Pluto exposes things. Pluto shows the reality. It's like Pluto collapses all the conspiracies we have about ourselves and instead just shows us the reality of what is going on underneath the surface. When Venus conjuncts Pluto for that third time on March 3rd, that is really going to be the finality. That is going to be that final transformation, that liberation. I think that's when people are going to look back on the last few months and really recognize everything that has just taken place. They're going to realize the transformation they have undergone. They're going to see how much they've grown, what they've learned about themselves. It's going to be that final moment where we really feel liberated. So overall, to wrap this video up, we are going to potentially experience some destructive moments, but it's all for the sake of being able to rebuild, being able to restabilize our energy. And this is going to show us how we have diminished our personal power, how we have given our power away. And this is going to cause us to take the power back, to take the control back into our own hands. This is going to be a very transformative time for everyone. And like I said, you want to look at what house you have Capricorn ruling in your chart, because that is going to be the main focus. That is where you are going to regain stability. That is where you are going to transform. All right, you guys, I feel like this video is so long. So if you made it to the end, you are a real one and you are prepared for Venus retrograde. I couldn't make this video short because this is important and I needed to get this out there because I already know people are going to be flooding my DMs wanting to know what the hell is going on, and I am going to direct them to this video. So if you guys enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, leave me a turtle emoji in the comment section as usual. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I love you guys so much. If you made it to the end, you are a real one. I appreciate you. I love you. I am here for you. I see you. I feel you. I'm sending you all the good vibes. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.